Hello lovely people, welcome to another video. This week I'm talking about retro gaming again, and I was super lucky this weekend to visit one of my favourite YouTubers, the RMC Cave, the Retro Collective. Thanks to my super generous wife Lucy, I had the chance to go to one of the museum's open days. And if you haven't visited the YouTube channel before, Neil that runs the cave over lockdown or just after has created a superb interactive museum of retro gaming history. It's only a quick video, this one, because for a lot of it I was having too much fun to actually remember to press record or film any footage. But there is still hopefully a glimpse at least of some of the wonders that are included in the museum. So I hope you enjoy this quick tour with me. It's about a 2-hour journey from Cheshire to Gloucestershire, so we got up fairly early, and thankfully the rare sunshine was out, and we arrived about 10:45 at this converted mill where the retro cave is. Coming into the cave was like an Aladdin's cave, really. There were so many amazing systems. I was a little bit overwhelmed. Apologies for the flickering here from the lots of CRTs. Took me a while to work out I needed to have this on a different setting. Got ya. But yeah, so loads of systems, loads that I knew, quite a few that I didn't, and yeah, some that I'd never had a go on before. So yeah, this is a proper special day. I was joking with Neil about being an Atari fan and not being able to play on the Amiga, but he said that they were linked up in love and harmony together. There is the Tower of Power that appeared in a recent video, the 32X Mega Drive and the Mega CD. And then I had a quick look through some of the old handhelds. I definitely had one of those Tomy ones. Some real nostalgic feeling towards some of these. There were some handhelds, lots of handhelds around that were all fully functional, including this great Game Gear. There was an original Lynx and this Neo Geo that I really enjoyed playing on during lunchtime. He's done a superb job of creating different rooms within the mill, including this, one of the highlights for me, a faithful recreation of a computing shop from the 1980s. Full of cassette tapes and other types of format. And it had this really clever thing where you could scan with a price gun these red dots that were on some of the video games, and it would actually put it onto the TV for you to play. I've no idea how we did that. It's very clever. Then the day started proper with a talk from Neil about how the day's activities would work, including a chance, of course, to play on some of these systems. But there's also an arcade museum downstairs that we got to have a go on as well, which was amazing. One of my favourites, the Atari Woody, the 2600. And then in the back room there was some more computers, including some Apple, my favourite, the Vectrex, which I got to have a go on. Really enjoyed having a go on this. And then a Virtua Boy, which I don't think I've ever had a go on before. My wife Lucy really enjoyed it. I have to say I felt sick after playing it for about 2 minutes, so it definitely wouldn't have been the one for me back in the day. But yeah, I think she enjoyed, I think there was Mario Tennis was her favourite, which she said actually worked really well with the 3D. Here's me trying to get some footage of inside the Virtua Boy, and this is Wario Land, another one of the best games on the system, not that there are that many games. And then some vintage computers. I say vintage, they're from my era. And then, yeah, some vintage games as well, like Day of the Tentacle, which I've been playing quite recently. And then here's me having a go on the Vectrex itself. I think this is a new game that someone had made for it, because I've not seen it before. Some rare computers like the Apple Pippin. Got to have my first go on a Japanese Famicom, first go on a Neo Geo, and my first go on one of my favourites, the PC Engine. Then on to some much rarer Japanese systems, including the Laser Active, one of the most expensive of all computer game systems, and the FM Marty, the car Marty rather. It's the Sharp X600, and this one from a recent video, the FM Towns. These are all rare Japanese systems. And then onto the Magnavox Odyssey, where it all began, which used to have these overlays for TVs because it was just a dot, essentially. One of the only Welsh entries into computing. And then some Oryx systems, so we're getting into some pretty rare and niche things here. Sorry, there's the Oryx, with those tic-tac looking buttons that must have been an absolute nightmare to try and type code on. And then the Oryx Atmos as well. The Einstein, and the Sam Coupe, which I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. The Dragon 64 out of its box, and the Aquarius. So yeah, some really rare ones here. Then over to a glass cabinet full of Spectrum goodies, including the ZX Spectrum, of course, and its later iteration. But also some of the earlier stuff as well, like the ZX80 and the ZX81. A real nostalgia fix for anyone of a certain age. And then Lucy's favourite was probably, weirdly, the car Marty, which was a system for Japanese kids to play in their car, hooked up to their car, and she had a great time on Splatterhouse, one of the best games on the system for sure. And then we had some lunch and played at some handhelds, including I had a bit of a go on the Neo Geo, and Lucy had a go on this Caveman 1. I had no idea how she was playing it, but it looked good. And then we made our way downstairs. Didn't get much footage of this, but had a great time in here. So many classic arcades from the 70s and 80s. I had a go on the Star Wars arcade. Here's Lucy having a go on Donkey Kong. Had a go on Galaxian. I had a go on Operation Wolf. So yeah, really super fun day out, and I can't thank Neil and Holly and the rest of the team enough for such a fun day. I'll put a link in the description on how you can visit the cave too. And yeah, this isn't sponsored by the cave or anything, but I would just say if you are into this kind of thing and you can get down to Gloucestershire, then you definitely should. Thanks very much for watching, and take care.